Hey, love it. Hi, welcome. How are you? It is you and me as the chatterers, and hopefully more will come on. How are you doing tonight? So today is the 23rd of April, 2025. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I was in Scientology for 30 years, as you know. Lovett is one of the moderators here. And I got in Scientology, as you know, in 1969. And then in 2000, after going all the way up the bridge to total freedom, hi, Lauren. Hi, JB808. I woke up in 2000. And I say woke up because it is sort of like you're in a coma when you're in a cult. Aloha. Nice. I like that. Aloha. So it is a bit like you're in a coma, and then you wake up, and then what? That's kind of part of the problem, I think, why people stay more than leave. But a lot of people do end up leaving because they start looking on the internet, and that was the difference. When we were in, there was no internet. Hi, Mark. Welcome, all of you. I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you for coming by. Can you hear me? It's funny because I don't know what it is with my ears these days, but it feels like it's echoey a little bit. So I'm like, that's why I'm asking if you can hear me. I don't know if I have the sound right or not. Is it okay? Tell me if it's okay. I can make it louder or not. This is a little bit louder. Ooh, there you go. Is that better? Oh, I see. One is the light. Oh, all right. That's good. Hi, Rochelle. Okay, so I think JB808 is saying, yeah, it sounds good. Okay, and Rochelle says it sounds good. Okay, good. Good to know. So there you go on that. So anyway, as you guys know, I was in for 30 years, which is a long time. I mean, people now think, how could someone be in something like Scientology for 30 years? Because you all have so much access to stuff on the internet that you can really learn what it was like. But for most of us, I got in 1969 before most of you were even a thought. And we had no clue, none. It was like, that's why I call it the Scientology Truman Show. If you haven't seen that movie, definitely rent it and watch it, or stream it or something. I think it's on YouTube, but it's called the Truman Show, and Scientology is very much like it. It's kind of a goofy show with Jim Carrey and stuff like that, but truly, I watched it over and over and over while I was still in, and I kept thinking, God, this is so similar. It was freaky. It was really freaky. So it's definitely very, very similar to it in many, many ways because you can't see the walls. Hey, Cornfused. All right, Tori, I haven't been able to catch a live in a long time. Wanted to say your voice remains so impactful. Thank you. What a nice thing to say. Thank you very much. And the cult of Scientology arrived. Hi. You were born in 1967. See, that's what I'm saying. You were barely a thought when I got in Scientology. The Elk of Antioch. Hail Princess Magoo of Western TGAC. There you go. And JB808 says, I saw the movie when it came out, but hearing you talk about it all the time convinced me to purchase it on YouTube. Cool. And see, if you watch it more, don't you see, can you kind of see how it's similar to Scientology or not, JB808? Let me know, because I'm curious. To me, it took me a while watching it over and over, and then I was like, oh my God. It's like everything is cut off from Truman. Plus, just like we're having this conversation, right? And that's how it was in the Truman Show. Around the world, people would turn in the Truman Show to see what was happening with Truman that day. But Truman was the only person who didn't know it. And that's how Scientologists are. They have no idea that people like us are having this conversation. They don't know that. And Scientology keeps it very cut off. It's like, no, don't look on the internet. You were born in 1953. Hi, Dawn. Battlefield Earth. Don't even go there. Awful movie. JB808. Yes, the second time around, I watched it just to see the correlation to Scientology. And did you see it? Were you able to see it? Dawn Lambert, long time no see. Yeah, good to see you. 1953. So that's good. Good to see you. Thank you for coming by. Everyone. I love you guys. I really do. I look forward to seeing you. Sophie's here. All right. So we got Lovett and Sophie, two moderators. That's why they're in blue, because they're moderators. Okay, good. So it's a great analogy. That's what the critics said in 2000 when I escaped out. It was really funny because Jesse Prince was there, and they were like young kids. They were like in their 20s, and they came up to me and they said, I just don't get it. I mean, how could you be in something for 30 years and not get it? And I said, and I just stood there and I said, have you ever seen the Truman Show? And they all went like this. Oh my God. And Jesse took me aside and he goes, I can't believe this. We have been talking to these people for hours and hours and hours, trying to explain to them how it works and why people would stay and yet. And you get off the plane and say, have you ever seen the Truman Show? And they get it, but it's such a great analogy. It really is. Hi, Angel. Oh, that's nice. Hi there, or aloha. All right. I hope good thoughts, Sophie. I hope good thoughts. All right. I was thinking about you today. I see. Nice. They were good thoughts. Sophie lives in a world of good thoughts. I can speak for her. So there you go. So the question of the night is Scientology, why Tom Cruise and John Travolta stay. So I met John Travolta in the early 17, no, not the early 1700s, 1970s. In the early 1970s, he came to Celebrity Center. And I was there working there as an auditor. Hi, Tony Griffin. All right. So I was working there and Yvonne came and asked me to twin with John Travolta and kind of get him through some stuff on the course he was on, which was a very weird course. It's the second course after the communication course in the old days. And, it had, walk over to that wall. Thank you. Touch that wall. Thank you. Turn around. Thank you. It was very weird for me. I mean, Travolta had not become the big star that he is now in the early 70s. He got Welcome Back, Kotter while he was at Celebrity Center that time. But he's such a nice guy. He is really and truly a nice guy. Wait, the Elk of Antioch says, we don't see the water in which we swim like extra atheists who suddenly attack anyone during daring to question DEI and intersectional theory, or that men are really women. Okay. All right. And he goes on to say, when you unquestionably believe something, you can't barely see it to criticize it. Well, that's true for a religion where you're believing it. Scientology is not a religion. It's a cult. And you're not allowed to look at anything else. You literally aren't. And I know people would say, well, I would never do that. And I would never either if I knew what you guys knew. But I didn't. And you weren't allowed to talk to anybody who knew other stuff other than Scientology and the Scientology Truman Show. So it's kind of like It wasn't really a belief because Hubbard said it was a science of the mind, right? So he was really big on it's not a religion, it's a science of the mind. But science you can question, right? Okay, you say this, it does that. Let's let's talk about it. What's the theory? What's the what actually happens? You can't do that with Scientology. No, no, no. You question it, you go to ethics. Ethics goes, hey, you've got two choices here. One of them is you leave because it sounds like you're in doubt. And if you're in doubt, you have to work out of the doubt condition. And the doubt condition is basically you work through, you can go this way or that way. So this way is out, that way you go back to Scientology. That's it. Those are your two choices. And most people, because you've already made really good friends with people, they stay. A lot of people, I really believe, stay in Scientology, because they think it works, but mostly because they have good friends and family that are in. You're very positive. How do you do it? Hi, Melba. I kind of grew up that way. My mom was that way. My dad was a celebrity. He played for the Chicago Cardinals, and then he was a broadcaster in the 60s. And they had a really nice house and nice cars, and they just did well. And she said, I just want you to know this isn't it. I said, really? Well, what is it? And she said, you have to go every day and either find something that you can be grateful for or create something, help someone, do something, find something to be grateful for every day. And so I have really done that all my life. And that was when I was a little girl. My mom told me that. So it's always helped me. It really has. And I do it every day. I do. I'm grateful for a lot of things, especially you guys. Hey, Tori in chat. Connie B, hi. Thank you for coming by. Good to see you. So that's how I stay. That's how I stay positive. It's kind of like it's what would you say? It's in your blood. It's like my mom really. She was pretty strict on that. We didn't have a lot of negative stuff in our house at all. Great videos with Mark and Janice, by the way. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. They're from Peeling the Onion. That's what their site is called, just so you know, if any of you want to see that. And I think I put it up here. I think Mark helped me put it up here. When you unquestion, okay, we already said that. I'm trying to keep up. I'm working on, hey, Yo-Yo's, thank you. Purple is Life Fund. Oh, that's nice. Thank you very much. Let me see if, there you go. That's nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I love your name. I got to write it down. Hang on. I'm already out of my paper. Let me see. You use. That's an interesting nickname. All right, thank you. Sweet. All right, so Sophie says, well, I think I can speak for all of us when I say we're all thankful to have Tori here talking to us. Ah, well, thank you. I feel the same about you guys. I'm thankful you're here. Wise Beard Man was featured in a YouTube video today that got 180,000 views in about 2 hours. Wow, that's good. What was that about? That's interesting. Tell me what it was about, JB808. I guess I'll go watch it after this. I'll go watch it. But that's good. 180,000 views. Go for Wise Beard Man. Interesting. Good for him. That's very cool. One of the funniest nicknames that I have seen is Lordy, my butt crack itches. That is pretty funny. Hi, Derek. Tommy McGee channel for that video. Okay. That's where Mark Bunkers is, or for the one with the butt itches? All right. Hi, Tori. Hi, Charles. Wonder what Scientology nut jobs were trying to do with William Streets' car last week. I know. Maybe an Apple AirTag or other tracking device. Who knows? I think it's just trying to send him a message. They want to get rid of him. They do. And it's stupid. Osa, if you're listening, that's not going to get rid of anybody breaking into their car. It's very stupid. They did that with my car. It's like, it just got me more ticked off. He was always on during paranormal live streams that I watched. Okay. There's the link. Okay, yes, Mark Bunker video is there. Are they delicious? Are they devious that they would track their cars? 100%. They're very devious. They don't like us. And that's their problem. Oh, someone named Tommy G made a video interviewing Mark, ASL, Jenna, Serge, and Streets. Wow, that's hot. That's pretty good. Tommy G. I wonder if it was Tommy Gorman. Was it Tommy Gorman? Is he a wrestler? That's Tommy. That's my friend Tommy Gorman, if it was. That's cool. Hi, Tori. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Good to see you. Everybody's saying hi, 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 hi. It's a good group. You always look very chic tonight. No flattery, just fact. I also love your positivity. Thank you, Tulip 2. I love tulips. So we're instantly in sync. But thank you for that. That's a very kind compliment. So anyway, back to JT and Tom Cruise. So Travolta, I know for a few different things. I'll tell you a few experiences I had with him. One was I drilled with him. Then at Battlefield Earth came out, and Osa said, okay, we've got to go handle this so make sure none of these evil critics like you guys get to John Travolta at Battlefield Earth. So I said, okay, because they knew I knew him. So I said, okay. So we're outside. I love tulips too, mostly purple ones. Yeah, really. We're outside, and of course, no critics are around him at all. And we had to go watch the movie, and it was awful. And then after that, they had a top secret party. And so we had to go to the party, and we're outside to make sure nobody gets to John. And John comes up to me and gives me a big hug. And he goes, I will never forget you and Vicky, who was the supervisor then. And I thought, oh, I love this guy. So I thought, I want to go in and talk to him. So I don't have one of their secret badges. They had these badges that everybody that was allowed in got. And I didn't have one, but I'm good at getting in places. And I thought, I'll just wait a minute. And this really tall guy goes walking in, and I go in behind him. And the security guy goes, well, where's your badge? And I look at him like, come on, man, give me a break. And he goes, okay. And so I just go in. So he let me in. So now I'm in, and John was already talking to another big celebrity. So I thought, okay, I don't want to bug him. What should I do? I know. I'll get some drinks for Yachty and Gavino, who are outside. The other Osa, the guy's working with Osa. Hi, Moose on the Loose. Thanks for coming by. So I get these drinks, and I bring them out to Bill and Gavino, and I say, I really want to congratulate you guys on your top secret, security that you have here. Here I am I have no pass or anything. I snuck in. Anyway, it was funny. So that was one. Let me just check and see. Okay, live sci-fi, love it, but sadly, Tim does not stream much anymore. Ah, it happens. Tori is an inspiration on how to embody positive vibes and positive, compassionate, genuine caring. Thank you. I work on it. It's one of those things that I really do love people. I do. And I'm generally a pretty happy person. Hi, Moose on the Loose. I love you guys' nicknames. It's frustrating. He would say, I will be back tomorrow. And literally 6 months later, he would stream. He was over 500,000 subs, and one would think he would care about posting regularly. Well, maybe send him a little, like a private message and just say, we miss you and can you come back or come over to Tori Magoo 44's site and we'll talk to you. We'll see if we can talk him back into it. Get him over here. I'll get him. Because you guys seem to know him and he sounds like a cool guy. He must be. If he has 500 subs, 500,000, he must be doing pretty good. Or he was. So let's find out what happened. Love it. We call it Tim time. I do look forward to his live streams, though. He goes to scary places to investigate. Ooh, somebody's got to send me his thing so I can, what's his name on YouTube so I can go check it out. Question, Tori, what are the reasons you think that John Travolta stays in the cult? And do you think it's helped him in his career? I think generally he's I think he stays because it's comfortable. He has friends that are there. He's kind of, I think you get used to the people in the Truman Show, and that's all you really know. And I'm sure he knows some people outside of the Truman Show, but he's not really, he's not like a true believer kind of thing of Scientology. I don't think. I really don't. He's in it, but not really. Not like Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is a true believer. He's like, yes, sir. And Tom Cruise isn't as nice as John Travolta is at all, in my opinion. But I think JT could come out any day and we would all welcome him and love to have him come. He has good friends that are out here and we all miss you. And I think you should give it a shot. That's what I always say. Come on out and try it. I mean, what is the worst that happens? They're not going to declare you John Travolta. They're not, because you're too big a star. They just won't do it. So you could come out, hang with us, Spanky, some of your other friends, me, and then, at the worst, you go, nah, I really miss everybody in Scientology, which I doubt. But if you did, you can go back. They would welcome you back in a million seconds. It would be like, come on back in. So that's what I say. Come on out and give it a shot. See what it's like. And that's true for anybody. You don't have to be John Travolta to do it. I think anybody, if you're in there, come on out and see what it's like out here. And then see for yourself, decide for yourself. Blessings, Tori. Thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate that. Okay, now wait a second. Charles said something about Aaron. Charles Patrick, I was wondering the same thing. All right, what was he wondering? I missed it. Love it. All right, now let me see. Is the organ filtered in the U.S. government? A bit. What's her name? Greta Van Susteren, who used to be a journalist, is now part of the United States government. And she's OT8 or OT7. I'm not sure which one, but Yeah, I think they're working on it, I'm sure. What are the reasons you think that John okay. So I think he's staying because of friends and because it's comfortable and he's used to it and they don't bug him. But the fact that he drives by Aaron doing those pickets every Friday night and he's been videotaping them, you think, okay, what's that about? I think he wants to either have his own cardboard thing there or he wants to talk to Aaron. And I think it's time, John. Come out and talk to us. Find out, why did we leave? Why did all the people leave? You've got to look around and think of all the people that you knew that are now not there. That we didn't vanish and we didn't die and we're not off helping our parents. We left. We left the Church of Scientology and we're happy. And we've met all these cool people around the world that are people that are helping us expose the abuses of the Church of Scientology. And that is not an evil thing because they shouldn't be doing those abusive things. See, they say, we love you, John. That's it. There you go. Tom, not so much. I know. Yeah, he's got a ways to go. All right, now let me just go up a bit, just a bit. All right. Okay, well, Sophie, can you send me this person that has the 500,000 subs? And maybe I can send him a message and see if I can invite him over. Anyway, I want to see his site. Anyway, it sounds cool. So do you think it's helped him on his career? No, I think he arrived as, I mean, I know he did. I was there with him. He was a good actor when he arrived. They, I'm sure, have put in his head that he needs Scientology to be successful, but he doesn't. He doesn't. His success is John Travolta. It's not Scientology. It just isn't. Sorry, Osa. That's a fact. And you guys know it. If it worked, you could talk to me, right? You can't. Not any of you. Not one Scientologist can talk to me. Not one. Not my ex-husband, not any of my friends, not Gay Rabisi, all these people that I used to know. You can't. You're not allowed to. It's a high crime. You'll be declared suppressive. But you know what? I'm proud of being declared suppressive. It's actually kind of fun. I got my SP declare and I had it laminated and I show it all the time because people should know that that's what they do. Which is another reason you're not a church. Look at our recent Pope that just passed away and how compassionate and loving he was. So opposite of you and DT. You go, Tori. Thank you, Connie B. Is this or yeah, I do think they are. Does anyone know if that was really John Travolta driving an older Mercedes in the video? Yeah, it was. And videotaping. Yeah, I've seen the video. Charles Patrick, excuse me, sorry, Lovett was wondering the same thing. Okay. That's what I was going to ask next. This is from Sophie. Tori thinks JT is a true believer. No, I don't think he's a true believer. But she answered already. No, I don't think he is a true believer. I think Tom Cruise is a true believer. I don't think John Travolta is. And that's just my opinion. I may be wrong. Maybe he is. I don't think so. I just don't. But I do think he's happy. And that also is part of it, is that he's relatively happy with his life and his flying and his planes. And, he's a cool guy. So he may be going, why should I leave? And all I can say is come out and see some of your old friends and see what you think. I think you'd be surprised, John. I do. I really do. I was there at Flag when Tom Cruise arrived at Flag. And they said, okay, Tom Cruise is here, but don't say a word. Don't tell anybody. Don't talk to him, nothing, right? And then they had a mandatory briefing. Excuse me. And they said, okay, everyone has to be at this briefing. Everyone. It's on the Flagland base. So we went. And who comes out? Tom Cruise. And he's like, I'm Tom Cruise. And I'm a Scientologist. And I'm a trained auditor. And if I can get trained, you can get trained. That was his big pitch. And we left and we said, boy, somebody handled him, because he wasn't before that. He wasn't a spokesperson like that. So anyway, it was kind of fun. It was just kind of fun to it was fun for us that we knew somebody handled him. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he just became a true believer. It was like, okay, somebody obviously said you could really change the planet. Tom Cruise, I know you won't leave because you love Davey. And I don't think he's, loves him in that way, but he loves the power of being with him, and vice versa. So I think they have a thing on that. Charles Patrick, I'm not, but I think people can zoom up and it's him. I couldn't tell myself because I could only see the back of his head. All right. I think it was him. Sophie, you and Tori's OT abilities are attached together. That's right. That is correct. It would seem to me that he has, this is from Connie B, that he has to know that Scientology is all a bunch of bunk unless he totally surrounds himself with nothing but Scientologists. Well, I think if he knew it was totally a bunch of bunk, he would leave. I do. That's kind of the point where you go, I'm out of here. That's it. And see, the stuff that I saw, most Scientologists will never see, and he will definitely never see, because they keep them very sheltered, where they only see a piece of blue sky. That's it. And that's a great book. That's by John Atack. If you guys haven't read it, it's a really good book. It's one of the original books that were written that we weren't allowed to see. After Anonymous showed up in 2008, books came out all over the place. But before that, it was A Piece of Blue Sky, Madman or Messiah, and I always forget, L. Ron Hubbard, Madman or Messiah by Ben Corden. And what's the third one? I forget. By Russell Miller. It's another one by Russell Miller about Hubbard. And Russell Miller was never in. So he's the one guy that totally, apparently a lot of people really like his book. JB808 comment. For Tom Cruise, I believe he stays because of 1, power. I agree. 2, privilege. True. 3, pressure. Maybe. 4, he believes in the actual tech. What are your thoughts? I think you're definitely right on 1, power. Privilege, I think he would have wherever he goes. So, but I do think it's extended. Do you see what I mean? That I think you're right on. It's sort of like people think if someone's a star, they're a star forever. That isn't really true. It's a lot of work to stay a star. But when you're in Scientology, this is what I think. This is my opinion only. But I think they feel like they have a red carpet treatment all around the world. And they do. They walk in the org, oh my God, Tom Cruise is here. John Travolta's here. Like the whole place goes nuts because that's who they are, and they're all excited about it. And it's sort of like they're their biggest opinion leaders, which is the biggest thing for Scientology. So I think, yeah, it's privilege because it's extended. Do you see what I mean? Where it's red carpet treatment around the world, wherever they go. Pressure, maybe. Yeah, they probably do keep some pressure on them. That's a good point. and you've got to help with the planet, that kind of thing. Which, John, if you're listening, here's the deal. Look at your church. They're not helping anyone. So you don't owe anyone anything. You can come out tonight. You can walk out the door, call my phone number, and I will come pick you up. And I'll take you to see some of your friends that are out here that you'll be very happy to see. Anyway, this is like quickly dialing the number. Get with John Travolta, tell him don't talk to Tori. Good luck on it, Osa. Good luck on it. You epic fail, to quote Anonymous from many, many years ago. Okay, and 4, he believes in the actual tech. Somehow I don't think he does. That's an opinion. I could be wrong. And it could be he's got, that was our whole thing, was hope that, the next level would do something. I know they really pick on gays. They do, because they say, that's your reactive mind, and, we have to fix that kind of thing. And if you didn't get the memo, he's, kind of goes both ways. So they probably pick on him on it. And you don't have to be picked on, John. You can do whatever you want to do out here. Anything. We are accepting of everyone. So get your ass out here. Call me. All right. And if you don't know my number, you can text me. Here's my text number. You can text me at this number. You don't have to send me any money, but text me at that number. There you go. Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah. Hey, Tori, it's JT. And be like, I'm on my way. It's happened to me a couple of times. It's really fun. Tom Cruise's arrogance is off-putting. I agree, love it. I loved his John Travolta character. Me too. My very favorite. I think everybody's. It was like, oh, so great. And he did such an excellent job portraying the mob type guy. I know, he was really great in it. It really was truly, truly fabulous. That's one of my favorite movies. All right. And I hated that he got killed, though. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Hi, power lies to paralyze. Here we are. I figure it's not a spoiler since the movie is so old. Never say old about movies. It's earlier. Okay, love it. Completely agree. Tom Cruise is very creepy these days, but JT seems appropriate, approachable, and kind. Exactly. That's the thing. It's like that, and that's how Scientology is too. It's very creepy. It's like I told you, Bob Minton said to me, how could you possibly join something like this? And I said, do you think I joined this? The thing that you see now, you think, and this was in 2000. It's way worse now. But I said, do you think I joined this? And he goes, yeah. And I said, hell no. And I said, sit down. This is a multimillionaire businessman, right? I said, let me tell you about 1969 and what Scientology was like then. And it was a party. I mean, we had a good time. I know there were some people that were in the Sea Org and maybe really slaved away, but not even those guys will mostly say, yeah, it was a good time back then. It was. Love it. Completely agree. The guy that I talked to a guy at Flag who did have to, they threw him off the ship because he screwed up on something. And he was really still hugely traumatized. So that kind of person would not say, oh, it's a party. It's like, it wasn't for him. And I apologize to people that were traumatized in the cult. Obviously, in those early days, I wasn't part of that. So there were people that were traumatized in a really awful way. And those people, I hope and pray they get help that they need, because they do. And Scientology never gave it to them. And that's not okay. And especially the kids. I mean, it just was awful what happened to them. And that I did try to stand up for them. I did for years. But they don't care. They don't care. That's the sad thing about it. They really don't. Tom Cruise is very creepy these days, but JT seems approachable and kind. See, that's kind of exactly like we're all approachable and kind. But, for the most part, power lies. Good to see you. Connie, I totally forgot about that. Uh, oh, was it the dinner scene? Oh, yeah. We should all rent Pulp Fiction and watch it together. LC. You can't rent things anymore, though. I know I sound so funky. It's like you have to stream it. I'm amazed watching the news now here in LA. They go, well, thank you for coming and watching our stream. And I'm like, your stream? When did the news become streaming? It's so weird to me. It's like that's their new catchphrase. Thank you for coming and watching our stream. It's like, well, okay, all right. LC, hey, Tori, Tom has star power and is an elite in Scientology. Duh, I think I know that. His elite experience is nothing like the experience of mere mortal plebeians. Exactly. I mean, they're totally different, but I'm comparing John Travolta and Tom Cruise. So it's both of them are stars. And they both live lives that are totally different than any of ours. And Scientology makes sure they don't know anything about what Tori might have found out or anybody else or talks to them. Because, that's their one protection. JB808 says, hey, PL2P. I like that. Sophie says, Connie B, Pulp Fiction is a brilliant film. He's great in that. Yeah, he is. He truly is. And Connie B says he got killed when he went to Butch's apartment to look for him. Oh, yeah, that's right. And went to the bathroom. That's right. And left the gun in the kitchen. That's right. And he came out, which Butch stumbled upon and got him coming out of the bathroom. Oh, God. Elsie, yes. Power lives to paralyze. Hi, Sophie and JB808. Hey. Hi, Power lives to paralyze. Connie B, yes, Sophie. I love the movie. The one where Marcellus Wallace's wife is ODing. I know that is a classic of all classics. I mean, I love that whole scene. I've watched it so many times. I can pretty much tell you the whole thing, where they're dancing and then they go home and they're going up the door and he gives her his coat and she puts some cocaine, I think it's cocaine, in her pocket, in his pocket, in the coat. And then they go inside. She says, you want to come in? And he turns on some music and she goes upstairs. And while she's upstairs, she's doing some coke. And while he's downstairs, right? I think she's doing some coke. But he doesn't realize whatever it is that she put in his pocket is more than, oh no, wait, I know what it is. She has on his coat, his jacket. And so I'll get mixed up. Now, wait a minute. They come in, she goes upstairs. She's got the coat on. She takes out the stuff and snorts whatever's in there, which is apparently way bigger than she thought. And then she comes downstairs and she's just like gone. And then he calls his friend and says, you got to help me. She's ODing. And he's like screeching around in the car and everything. And he's like, wait a minute, are you on a cell phone? Wrong number. It's a very funny scene. Anyway, I loved it too. JT is the Grim Reaper of Scientology, in my opinion. JT is? Wow, interesting. I don't think so. I don't see it that way, but maybe I don't know who the Grim Reaper is. I'm not really sure what that means. To me, He is who he is. You've been Travolta and Cruz rubbing elbows with royalty. Psst. You've seen Travolta and Cruz rubbing elbows with royalty. Okay. So, Elsie, I totally agree. Yes, this is John. Keep going. Yay. This is John. All right. Hi, John. Where's my little... It's right, the Black Medical book. That's right. I don't know. Why don't you keep it with... with the shot? Cracked me up. Why don't you keep it with the shot? Cracked me up. He's looking for this little Black Medical book where he can figure out how to bring her out of whatever she's in. Elsie says, no, he doesn't. Call her John. How could John believe in the tech when he watched his best friend, Christy Ellie, die of colon cancer? That is a logical question. If you thought logically in Scientology, they would all be out the door within the first week. But you quickly are brainwashed to not think that way. That's something else. That was something. See, the thing is this: if something good happens, they did it. If something bad happens, you're responsible for it. That's always how Scientology is. That's how all cults are. Anything good, they're responsible for it. Anything bad, you are. So Kirsty, it'll be like, well, look what she did. You don't know this about her. And they'll bring out some shit about her and say, that's why she got colon cancer. It's not just because she got colon cancer. It's because she did this, which is her bad deeds that she shouldn't have done. And if she'd followed our program, she would have been alive today. And you're like, oh, now that didn't work with me because I have epilepsy and I take medicine for it. And it controls the seizures. I haven't had a seizure in 30 years. So that little program of like, the reason she has blah is because of blah. They tried to run it on me. And I was like, no. And I finally got the entire flag land-based technical team, everybody crammed, corrected on medicine in 1989. Because I was like, no, that's it. I'm done with this shit. I've been doing it since 1969. It's 1989. I want to go on OT5. And you're saying I have to get off my medicine still, even though the president of the Church of Scientology's wife has apologized to me, a number of different things. Anyway, I said, you show me in writing where L. Ron Hubbard says I have to get off my medicine. You show me it. And they had nothing. And they finally had one bulletin. And I'm saying this because if anybody may be lurking and listening who has a medical condition, I want you to understand this. There's only one bulletin and one line in that bulletin that says, even on upper OT levels. No, it says on upper OT levels, an OT should not be on medication. That was it. And I said, okay, you guys, this year, this was in 1989, have started, there are no OT1 through 7 are all pre-OT levers. That's what they started in 1989. 1989, they said they're all pre-OT levels. OT8 is the first OT level. So I said to these guys at Flag, and these are top CSs at Flag at this point, I said, everyone I talked to who's done OT7, OT6, OT5, OT4, well, OT5, because I was trying to get onto 5, everyone talks about how they've handled medical conditions with it. So I know it deals with it. You can't deny it. You have thousands of people. Back then, there were a lot of people still on the level. Now, a lot of them have left or died or committed suicide. But back then, there were a lot of them that were alive, and they were saying, I handled X, Y, or Z with OT5. So I said, now you're saying those are all pre-OT levels, and the only OT level is OT 8. So I think L. Ron Hubbard was thinking of a higher level when he said you shouldn't be on medicine on an OT level. He was talking about something higher than OT 8. And I think you have an MU. So I want all my folders to go to Ray Midoff up at RTC because he's the top CS up there. And I want him to decide whether you have a misunderstood on what L. Ron Hubbard meant or whether Tori Bazazian has an MU on what L. Ron Hubbard said, which was my married name then. And it took about a month and it came back. The tech sec at Flag had called me to apologize. And she said, I am so sorry we have put you through this. You were right. We are going to correct every tech terminal at Flag on on medication. And they did. And I remember, and I had a full okay to do OT 5, 6, 7, and 8. So it was all okay. It was really a big win for me because they were trying to get my mother-in-law, who was OT 7 and going to the ship to do OT 8, and she was on blood thinners, and they were going to take her off her blood thinners, and she would have been dead. But I was like, no, we're going to handle this. Wait till my thing comes down. And it came down, and anybody who had to take medication, if your doctor said to take it, let them take it. I was like, yes, I won. So anyway, that's kind of exciting. I forgot where we got to there. Rib Guy. Rib Guy, hi. Hello. Okay, no, wait, I got to get back up here because I missed a whole bunch of stuff. Balloons. All right, now wait. Oh, yeah, his pure heroin from Amsterdam. That's right. And she thinks it's cocaine. That's what it was. Thank you. Absolutely, Jason. Thank you very much. I knew it was something like that. Yeah, that's a great flick. It really is. I miss it. I want to watch it again. I miss being able to go and rent films because now you have to, be signed up with stuff or whatever. Absolutely, Jason. Okay, she finds pure heroin. Okay, so thank you for clarifying that. Rib Guy. Sorry I'm late. You're never late here. Remember that. You don't ever have to say you're sorry. You can just say hello. And welcome. Friend's birthday dinner ran late. No problem. Because when he bought it, it's normally sold in balloons, but Eric Stoltz says it is okay that it is a baggie because I'm out of balloons. She would have likely known it was not cake. Or Coke. Okay. Yeah. If it was I gotcha. She thought it was Coke, but it was heroin. Okay. And that's right. That's where it was. And that's where he said, where's my black book? Where's my black book? It's very funny. And we super genius. Okay. Hi. JB808, fun fact, Samuel L. Jackson told a story about how someone was reenacting his famous line while he had his back turned away. When he turned around, that someone was Marlon Brando. Interesting. I love how Tori just treats everyone the same. I think she would just treat John Travolta as a normal person. I did. Of course I would. I mean, I don't have a big thing on. It's actually a really funny thing because, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a whole nother thing. Let me just see what you guys are seeing here. 49ers for life. I missed when Tori went on later. I'm sorry. What happened is I was just staying up way too late. I'd be up till like 4 a.m, and then I'd sleep until, just too late. It got to be too late. So I do the late night thing on Friday night. That's when I do it. I try to do late night with Magoo at 11 to 12, that kind of thing. So it's still late, but it's not as late. Rib Guy, were you an OT? He'll have to answer that. And Connie B says, then being against medication gets me. Some people have to have medication to live. Absolutely. I mean, I would have been, like my mother said, they're going to kill you. If you keep following this program, Tori, you're going to be dead. And you know what? She was right. There's another guy who has epilepsy. He did get off all his medication and he's dead. So she was right. But I know my grandfather was a doctor and he was like, get her on her medication. I don't care what you have to do. Just call her up, tell her, get on her medication. And she did, man. She kicked ass. It was really great. She saved my life. Being in charge of a group of followers and telling them that they cannot take life-saving medication is criminal. You're right. It is. Are there many physicians in Scientology? No. That would be weird. Yeah. There are a few, but you know, it's really weird. I'll tell you a little, this is a side story, and then you guys have to tell me to get back to this if you want. But a side story is a bunch of the Sea Org went to this chiropractor who was a Scientology OT and a chiropractor. And one day I'm out in front of AOLA on L. Ron Hubbard Way, and I see him come walking down the street, and he's like doing this, and his shirt is out, and his hair is all screwed up, and you know, he's like rubbing his hands, and he's like, Tori, help me. And Osa is there, and I go up to him and I go, what are you guys going to do for this guy? He obviously needs some help. And she said, Tori, there's nothing we can do. And I mean, this is Scientology where they're supposed to be able to help anybody with anything. You know, Osa, how can you morons sit there and listen to this and not walk out the door? I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's like it doesn't work. If it worked, they would have helped their own chiropractor. And you know what they did instead? They said, Tori, get away from him. Get away from him right now, unless you want to take him home to your house. And I was working at the time. So I was just on a break and I had to go back to work. And I said, I can't. I said, but you guys can. You know, they're the Sea Org. You guys can help him. They wouldn't. They honestly wouldn't. It really made me sad. To this day, it makes me sad that people like that, you know, they hurt people. They really do. It's awful. I mean, think of me with all those grand mal seizures for months. And all they could say is, you have the wrong intention. You're not responsible enough. You know, it's like, fuck you. And I am saying that. I am saying the F word. There you go. Thank you very much. All right. Sophie says, Tori, when you explain how the cult will just blame the person for their own death, it's a reminder that we are dealing with an absolutely heartless system, even if you dedicate your life to it. It's true. And then when you die, what do? Nothing. We never even knew most of the people died. I would only find out because, what was it? His last name was Miller. Steve Miller used to be the cramming officer at AO. And I would go in to get corrected on something. And he'd go, do you know who died? And I'd say, no. And he'd start telling me all these people. And I'd be like, you're kidding. And, you know, one time I was walking down L. Ron Hubbard Way and I see Steve go, Tori, come here. And I go, what? What now? And he goes, you're not going to believe how many people are dead now. And he starts listing off all these people that I know. I knew him personally. And it was very freaky because it's like they just sweep them under the rug. They're gone. That's it. And that's what they think. Oh, they're gone. They drop their body. They'll pick up another one, come back. That's it. It's very, you know, it's awful. It really is. Okay, so you're right, Sophie. And Dawn says the original OT8 Hubbard said Jesus was a pedophile only for a very short time. It was like for maybe the first people that did OT8 read that and they got so pissed off, they changed it immediately. And now they say that never happened. But it did happen because I've talked to people that were on it. But it didn't last long because people were pissed off. Rib guy, interesting. Can you imagine if John Travolta were to come into the channel? No one would believe it was him. I had a funny story with that with David Mayo. David Mayo was a guy who was a big CS in Scientology. It was sort of like L. Ron Hubbard, David Mayo. He was like way up there. And he left. And he started his own little group outside of Scientology. And I knew about it. I wasn't part of it, but I knew about it. And now I leave. And I'm on a site, and he comes in. David Mayo comes in. And the name is David Mayo. And of course, people do, especially on the internet, they'll take somebody's name and say that they're them, and they're not. So, but in this place, it was xscientology.net, and they had these little private rooms you could go in. So I asked him, can you come into this room with me? And I said, okay, I'm the person that told you were full of shit. And you wrote me a 6-page letter understanding what I was saying. And I said, so is this the same David Mayo? And he said, yes, it is. And so I gave him my phone number and I said, okay, please call me tomorrow because I really want to know it's you. And the next day the phone rings, I pick it up and he goes, I go, hello. And he goes, this is David Mayo. Can I talk to you? And I was like, oh my God, I was so amazed. I was really amazed that he called me. It was really cool. And we came up with a good plan for some stuff for him that I'm not going to mention because I don't want Osa to know about it, but it was very cool. Okay. Dawn, Connie B says, Dawn, that's because I've heard the same thing about LRH. What did Dawn say? The original OT8, Hubbard says Jesus was a pedophile. That's rich because I've heard the same thing about LRH. Yeah, but this was in writing as part of an OT level. You know what I mean? Whether he was a pedophile or not, that I don't know. And I'm not saying he was or wasn't. I just don't know. But this was part of their, OT8. You know what I mean? In writing. So it was pretty freaky. Rib Guy, oh no, I never made clear. Good for you, Rib Guy. Yay. I still have 10K on account with my field auditor. I've written it off learning costs. Yeah, you could ask for it back, but Connie, not surprised. And Charles says, didn't Kelly Preston get to smack Tom Cruise and Jerry Maguire? I don't remember it, but I think you're right. I think so. And Sophie says, Dawn Lambert, wow, that's the level that rewrote where LRH proclaimed he was the beast, Lucifer. I don't know if that's the same thing that we're talking about. I think the Lucifer thing was a different thing. I think, but I don't remember. And Dawn says, yes, Sophie. All right. Can you rent films on Amazon Prime? I think you can. That's a good point. You can. You're right. And I do have Amazon Prime, so that's a good point. Thank you for mentioning that, love it. Connie B always accuse the opposition of what you yourself are doing. Elron is so obvious. Yeah. Very true. Sophie, that's what I was thinking. All right. Absolutely, Sophie. I do love me some Samuel L. Jackson. Me too. I haven't seen him recently. Has anybody else seen him in anything? Connie B, yep. You're on the right track. It's classic psychological warfare tactics. That's what Jesse Prince told me about me when they were doing the fair game on me. He said, I used to run this program. It's called psychological warfare. They're trying to drive you insane. It really helped. He helped me a ton. Charles Patrick, love it. There's so much on Prime Video. Oh, good. Love all the live channels they have now too. Oh, good. And just took a $2.99 a month for 2 months, Paramount plus Showtime. Ooh, I'll tell you one thing. If you have Disney, you've got to watch this thing. It's called I think it's ILM. and the L and M are light magic. So you can just go to Disney and type in light magic, but it's a documentary on basically, and I'm not a sci-fi person, I'm not, but I love this. I love George Lucas and, Spielberg. I love all their movies. And this is the beginning of it. It's so amazing to see how they pull in these people from all over the place to create the beginning of sci-fi stuff. It's awesome. It's a great documentary. Even if you don't have Disney, I would pay to get it. They have a little package, I think, for $20 where you can have Disney and a couple other things. But anyway, check it out because it's really good too. But that's good to know. Paramount, Showtime through Prime. Okay, that's good. I'm going to write it down. $2.99. Paramount and Showtime. That sounds good. I'll check it out. Oh yeah, and that's from Prime. Via Prime. All right. Okay, and Connie B says, I think Travolta's best film is True Romance. I never saw that, darn it. I'll have to look that up. Dang, that's a great deal. Yeah, it is. Charles Patrick, I just got back into The Last of Us second season. I love the game. Thinking about replaying it. Wow. I just got back into The Last of Us. Is it called The Last of Us? Connie? Is that what it's called? The Last of Us? That and Jello Jackets? Yellow Jackets. That's what I thought. I think she means Yellow Jackets. Hello, Vincent. Evening, Miss Tori. Vinicetti. Wow. Thompson. Yes, Tori. My best friend grew up in Texas Valley area, which is near Mexico. The principal of her school would announce every morning over the PA about the fighting Yellow Jackets, I think you mean. Cracked me up to hear that. That is funny. Really funny. All right. Impersonate him. Love your stories. Okay, Tori does have great stories. All right. Impersonate who? What are you talking about? Some of which are obvious, cannot tell us. I don't think I have anything that I can't tell you. Another good deal is DirecTV, $35 a month for what used to be basic cable, and it includes Disney, Max, and Hulu. That's what I think it is. Is it 35? I didn't realize it was 35, but that's what they were saying. It's Disney, I think, Max, and Hulu. I think that's what it is. But I'm telling you, if you haven't seen this Disney show on the sci-fi thing in the beginning of it, you just think of now, people making movies now. And it's like stuff that back then, they literally, this is a true story. Think of Star Wars. They had to make these monsters, right? So they got these huge tanks from Norway and had them shipped over here and decorated them and everything and made them look like they were monsters, right? But it was amazing. And the other thing was that they had to put up stars, right? And this is stuff that it's funny because you think, now we need stars, so they press a button, you've got stars, right? But back then they were putting these like things in the sky, right? So they had stars. And then this one guy said, wait a minute, I've got a great idea. I'll be right back. I'm going to the grocery store. And he went to the grocery store and he came back and he goes, these, which were potatoes, are going to look like planets flying through the stars. And they're all like, are you serious? And he goes, try it. Let's see. And sure enough, it looked fantastic. I mean, it was really amazing. It was like, wow, what a creation. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm saying. It's just very, very, very early on. When, now they'd say, we need a couple of planets in there, put some planets in there, now then go get some potatoes. Sounds like a good deal. I forget with whom I was subscribed. Okay. Thanks to all for the program. Good health to everyone. Hi, Northwest Media. Okay. You're welcome. Connie B, there's almost too much to choose from. Yeah, that's true. Very true. All I have is Netflix. I have Netflix and Amazon Prime. That's it. And I have an antenna. And it's just, you can get an antenna for $20. And then you have access to all these TV things. I mean, it's just amazing. It's really cool. It's really great. When I got divorced, I said, that's it. I'm done with cable. I got rid of it because it's so expensive. Maybe it's better now, but back then it was like over almost $200. And I was like, no, I cancel this, cancel that. I canceled a bunch of stuff because I didn't need it. I need to review my subs and reconfigure. I'm paying too much. Yeah, I hear you. Truly. Northwest Media, I love the face you made. Okay, I don't know what the face was. All these cults place no value on this life. JWs have a similar belief that they can come back, so dropping a body is no big deal. Yeah, that's Scientology's thing. Just drop your body. I'll tell you one of the worst things that I experienced in that thing. No respect for your life. And that thing, Sophie, was a father who I knew invited me to this, I guess it was a funeral for his daughter. She'd gotten in an accident and was killed. And so I went to it. And this guy was like a used car salesman. He's out at Celebrity Center there's some little chairs and we're sitting there. And he's like, I'm trying to find someone to take my daughter and give her a new body. So these are all of her skills and this is this, and she's really great. And how about you? And how about you? It was so weird. It was so weird. It was like, oh my God, are you serious? You're pitching your daughter who's dead that somebody takes her spirit for next lifetime. It was like, wow. It's one thing to believe that. It's another thing to literally, physically be pitching it at a funeral. I was like, man, you are way out. For me, I was so much of it. I was like, are you kidding me? Come on. Anyway, Agda Mom, Tori, have you seen the documentary Over the Rainbow? No, I just did. Did you think it makes excuses for Scientology because of their belief in reincarnation? Lara FM is in it. Wow. Made me feel so sad. It's called Over the Rainbow. And is it made by Scientologists? Oh, and where would I see it? Is it on Netflix or Amazon Prime? You have to let me know where to see it. Rib Guy. I use a Ditch Cable Now box. I get all paid channels and pay-per-views for $25 a month. Here you go. See? Mine isn't anything a month. I think I pay $7 for Netflix. That's it. No, I think I have to pay $10 for Amazon Prime, maybe. But I think it comes with my prescription. Oh my God, that's horrible. People are trying to drive you insane. Yeah, it was pretty incredible. The industrial light and magic. I think that's it. That's it. Thank you, Connie B. It's really unbelievable. A fabulous documentary. I love a good documentary. Me too. And I was like, a young girl that was with Spanky and I, and she said, she worked at Disney, and she said, you got to watch this thing. You're going to love it. And I was sort of like, I'm not really into sci-fi. And then once it started, I was like, oh my God, I love this. I love documentaries too. I really do. And biographies. The Last of Us. Okay, yes. It was a video game that they made into a series. It's pretty good and seems to follow the game closely. Interesting. The Last of Us. And where can you see it, Connie B? Where can I see it? Is indeed horrible. Psychological warfare is no joke. No. Recently watched a clip on YouTube of Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher on GMA in 1977 saying they thought Star Wars was a dud, but were shocked at how good it turned out with all the special effects. Yeah, I mean, these guys had no clue. They were all brand new. I mean, like they were getting guys that fixed motorcycles. You know what I mean? And they said, wait a minute, I know this guy that can do this stuff with a motorcycle with the engine. And we'll get him to come over and he can work the monster, you know, and then build that into that. It was just amazing to see. It was like, wow, it's truly the beginning. I'm doing DFK, but listening, laying down. Okay, I don't know what DFK is. Does anybody else? I don't know. Mom says Prime. Okay, it said Prime. Okay, good. Laura FM was interviewed by Mark tonight. They were talking about it. Oh, okay, good. That's the one where it was 150,000 views? Wow. Okay, what did Tori just say that a man was pitching about another live person takes up his daughter's soul? This was when this cult gets very far out. How does this work? Is it possession? Okay, they don't say how it works. So that was part of it. It's like, what is this guy talking about? You know, I mean, I get it. They believe, you know, your soul moves on, you drop your body. So this was a dad saying, I don't want her just drifting around. I want her back in Scientology. So somebody, you know, who can give birth to my daughter so that she's back. And, you know, they don't say how it works. They don't, you know, there isn't any program for how to do it. It's just because they believe in reincarnation, they believe that somebody can do it. And he was just kind of pitching, I don't know who, but one of you must be able to. And we were all like, no. It was kind of sad. It was. Sophie, Doug's channel used to have Over the Rainbow. See if it still does and send it to Tori. Oh, thank you, Dawn. Okay. Yes, it's interesting documentary. Okay, cool. The Last of Us is on HBO. Okay. Yeah, I don't have HBO. So there you go. That ends that. Oh, wait, Rib Guy. Away from the keyboard. Oh, that's what that means? AFK? No, that isn't what you said. Link to Over the Rainbow documentary from Doug's channel. Okay. Well, I can get to Doug's channel, so I should be able to see it. The Last of Us is a post-apocalyptic drama after the fungus gets into people's brains and make them flesh-eating zombies. I know, but it was a very good story, and it follows Joel and Ellie. I'll pass. I have for years said there's too much shit in the world in general. I don't need to pay to see more shit. That's just the way I am. Some people really like to see really creepy stuff, but that isn't me. And neither is my oldest brother. He's the same way. You know, he watches Hallmark. And I'm not laughing at you if you hear me. I'm not. I think it's very sweet. It is. But he said, you know, I have too much stuff in, you know, I'm writing and I have too much stuff in my head. And I want to just watch something where I don't have to think about it. I know it's going to have pretty girls in it and it ends up nice. And I thought, that's good. I like it. I do. I get it. The Last of Us is okay, I read that. Question from Sophie. If they believe that they can, you went away. If they believe that they can come back via a baby, does it happen that people then think someone else's child is their loved one? It does sometimes. I have a friend, I'm not going to say who, but she was dying. and she was going to go, they're all dying of cancer because they won't do chemo. So they try to do the natural, then they're dying. So she's dying, and so she gets a woman, and she says, I want you to be my mother, next lifetime. I'm going to pass away. And she sends her, I mean, this was incredible. She wrote out everything. She wrote out a hat, like Hubbard has a thing called a hat write-up, which is like whatever your job is, it's all the things that you do for that job. So she wrote up, she was a writer, a teacher, a movie maker. So she was all those things. So she couldn't write at the time because she was almost dead. So she verbally told it to her sons, and they wrote it down. So she had all the hats written up. So that's done. Then she found a mom to give birth to her. And the mom said, okay. So then she sends the mom a whole write-up of what kind of food she wants to eat. She mails her toys that she wants to play with next lifetime. I mean, this is a true story. And the end of it was, she says, Tori, I owe this guy $6,000 and I don't have it. And I said, okay, but you have an e-meter, right? And she said, yeah. And I said, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some friends and we'll have a raffle for all summer. And we're going to raffle off your e-meter, and we'll get the $6,000 and we'll pay the guy off. So we did. I got 5 mothers. We all sold tickets. We got the $6,000 and more because we flew the kid that won it, who got the ticket, was in San Francisco. So we flew him down. It was sort of like the Jerry Lewis telethon kind of thing. It was really fun. And we flew him down, and we brought in the guy that she owed the $6,000 to. And so we gave the guy that she owed the $6,000 to his $6,000 check. So he was happy. And then we gave the kid the e-meter, which was fabulous because they're like $3,000 or $4,000 then. So that was really cool. And, it was kind of the best I'd ever seen. She wrote out her whole funeral, what she wanted said, how she wanted it done, blah, blah, blah. She really took care of everything. And I know she wouldn't tell us who the mother was. So, because she didn't want people saying, oh, that's so-and-so. You know what I mean? She didn't want that. But I know the story, and I know that that's what happened. I mean, I know that she thinks that's what happened. Anyway, there you go. That was kind of one of the better Scientology death things that I ever saw. I love the game is what got me into it. Okay. Anyone know if season 3 of White Lotus is any good? I don't. I heard it wasn't, but that doesn't mean it isn't. I never take anybody's advice on that. And Connie B, unless they go, it's awful. If they go, it's awful, then I usually will listen to them. Connie B sounds like Omega Man with Charlton Heston, which was 1970s remake of a 50s movie. Interesting, Charles. Cool. Connie, oh my God, that sounds terrifying. I know it does. Robert, hi. I remember that you had to get to OT3 because it increased your chance to be a Scientologist in the next lifetime. Really? That I never heard. That's a new one for me, Robert. I have never heard that it increased your chances to be a Scientologist in the next life. I never heard that. Did you do OT3? I don't think so. No. Anyway, Charles, I have not seen that. I've seen Soylent Green and Charles Heston and the Planet of the Apes series. LOL. And Dawn says, my twin sister used to tell me my daughter was her in a past life. Yeah, that you do hear. I did know a few people who were positive they were somebody else in last lifetime, but I was always like, okay, whatever. Rib Guy, I just finished Yellowstone Excuse me, great series, in my opinion. The ending sucked. I hate that when that happens. We've seen a couple of those. And it's like, why make the ending shitty? I don't get that. I don't. Was that not Charlton Heston that says Soylent Green is people? I don't know, Connie. Over the Rainbow has a scene where Laura is having a conversation begging her father to act like a dad instead of the SEAL member. She's sobbing and he is telling her to report to ethics. Oh, God. I don't think I'm going to watch that. I've seen too much of that in live. It's too awful. But I'm glad she did. I'm glad she made it. Act Mom, that sounds horrible. I'm going to watch the film. So sorry for Laura. Okay. She tried to get his attention once when she saw him outside. I heard that, doing something, and he ignored her. That would devastate me if my dad ignored me. I know. I get why she screams. I would too if my dad was in there. I would be screaming. I mean, I'm good for her. I hope he hears her one day. I really do. And if you happen to hear this, if you know Laura Anderson's dad, please tell him to call his daughter. There's a lot of people out here that care about her. She's a really wonderful person. Yes, it's so sad because he can't just be a father. I know. That's the tragedy of Scientology. What has gotten into these people? Sophie says, Dawn, wow. Is that because she was a Scientologist or because she was your twin? I got to go back up and see what Dawn said. My twin sister used to tell me my daughter was hers in a past lifetime. Was hers in a past lifetime. My daughter. Probably a little of both. She was a Scientologist and it was her twin. Adults can choose to believe whatever they want, but they should protect their children. That goes for all faith systems. I agree. I really do. Yes, Sophie, Dawn says. Omega Man was so scary. Ooh. Sophie, could have been because we were twins too. Yeah, I think it's probably both. Robert says, I never got past grade 3. Guess I'll have to be Catholic? Hey, I was raised Catholic. Connie B., Omega Man, and the Rainbow documentary will give me something to do later tonight. Okay, good. All right, Dusty Soda Dispenser. Question. I'm leading a team organizing the Lisa McPherson Memorial at Flag 30 years lost. My question is, will you please consider coming Mark Bunker reunion? I would love to come. It's just my thing is financially I really can't. I just did this thing with my teeth and it's thousands of dollars that I'm having to pay for that. So I really can't, but I would love to. That's too scary before bed. Oh yeah, don't watch scary things before bed. My twin and I talked about our past lives as children. Really? Wow, you've got to do a thing on that, Dawn. And you were together as children, as twins, last lifetime? Wow, that's really cool. We've got to do an interview with you, Dawn. You've got to send me your information so we can do an interview with you. That would be fascinating. Uh-oh, Love It's dozing off now. Have a lovely night. Good night. Yay, Love It. Thank you for coming by. That's so cool. She loves him and she's cool. Phil Anderson. That's right. Thank you. Thank you, Sieglin. Good night, Love It. Okay, guys. Hubs wants me to watch The Masked Singer with him. Peace out and take care of everyone. Talk to you later. DM me if John Travolta shows up. All right. Have fun with your husband. That's wonderful. Nighters love it. Night, Connie. Good night, Connie. All right. So I guess we should call it. Unless anybody has a question about anything, let me know before I say good night. It's been fun being with you guys, as always. Okay, I don't think anybody has any questions, and they're going to bed anyway, so there you go. All right, thank you for coming by. Thank you for being here. If you see this tomorrow, please leave some comments. Thank you. Good nighters, Dawn. Good nighters, FBC123 me. That's good. I like it. Ag Mom. Good night, Dawn. Good night, Sophie. Thank you, Tori. Sophie, thank you, Sophie, for being here. And love it also for both of you. June Litz. Night, Tori. Good night. That's right, it is night. It's 9. Well, it isn't that night for me, but it will be soon. All right, you guys. Today's Wednesday, so tomorrow's Thursday. So have a good Thursday, and hopefully I will see you late Friday night. For anybody who likes the late night, that'll be my late night. Okay? All right, so peace out. I love you guys. And we'll see what the weather is. If the weather's nice, I might be outside on Friday night. We'll see. All right, you guys take care.